Hello everyone. So this video is about how to create an integration in Magento, and this integration would be OAuth-based authentication. So the link of the blog you will find in the video description. Okay, so first if we open the blog, then you can see your how to create integration. The prerequisite for this is Magento should be installed in your system, some node environments, uh, and little bit knowledge about node and Angular. So if I go to the definition, then so Magento integration is a process by which third-party system can take access to the Magento resource. So if I explain you over here, so there is here a Magento system and any third-party system. Okay, this is a third-party system, and third-party system basically which has a front end and its backend server, and here is a Magento system, and you want to get access of Magento resources as a third party system, then you can use this or create this integration for this purpose. So if I open the official documentation of Magento, so there is a authentication, and there mainly a three type of authentication has been given here. If I open the documentation, then you can also see the same in the documentation. So basically what type of topics we are going to cover in this video. So first we will understand OAuth, what is OAuth, right? What is Magento, and what kind of authentication supported by Magento, and specifically focus with OAuth-based authentication. And we will also prepare a third-party system, front end and backend system to take access. We follow steps: how to create a new integration, how to activate that integration, and the verify. We will verify how does we really get access to those resources or not by calling a APIs which are mentioned in the this Magento documentation. So if I scroll little bit, so as you know, the Magento is well known e-commerce platform from and which gives different features like product inventory, marketing offers, currency, coupons. So all kind of features which must be required in any modern e-commerce system, right? So if I open Magento, so basically Magento is already installed in my system, so I am just opening it in Magento. So you can see here this is a Magento front end, and if you want to open the Magento backend, then you can open it using the admin URL. Okay, so before proceeding the video, I am considering that Magento is installed in your system, and also admin panel and username, password all are set up. Okay, so now we will proceed further. As we have understand the Magento, so now understand what is OAuth. So OAuth stands for openly authorization. So suppose consider you are logging into some abc.com website, and that website has given option like login with Facebook and login with Google, etc. So once you start the process of login or sign up, then one pop-up will appear like, do you want to log in with Google? So for example, if you proceed with login with Google, then one pop-up will appear. So basically That pop-up is saying that do you want to give access of your resource which is available on Google to the abc.com. So if I draw and explain you, then so this is consider this is a abc system, abc.com system. Okay, so this is abc system, and you are logging into abc system using Google. So basically logging with Google. So this is a pop-up of login with Google. So I'm just writing here. Okay, so what basically we are going to do here, we are allowing, or the user is allowing to abc.com to take access of the resource available on Google server. And once the access of the resource like name, first name, email, then using those details, ABC system can allow a user to log in or sign up. So basically this is a openly authorization system. Currently OAuth2 is in market. So this is OAuth process. Okay, so Sam has been explained over here in the blog. Now, but the question arises in your mind, like why we need to understand this OAuth and for this integration. So if you replace the Google, or for example if I open the Excel draw, then you can see there is a Magento system, okay, and you are giving access to third-party system of Magento resource. So consider this is a Google and third-party system is a abc.com. So abc.com is taking the ownership of the resource available on Magento system by Magento Integration. So if I open the official documentation, then there is mainly three type of authentication available for this purpose. One is token based authentication, another is OAuth-based authentication, and is session based authentication. So as mentioned over here in the blog, there are three types of authentication, but mainly we will focus on the OAuth-based authentication. So it is flexible and give enough freedom to take resource access using the API compared to first and third one. So for this we have covered topic 1. For the second topic, we have to prepare a system as a third party system which has some front end side and which also has some backend server. So we will do it everything in our local system, so you don't need to create a website and deploy and all everything. We will do everything in our local system. So now proceed to step 2 is to create front end and backend system as a third party system. A third party system with some front side and backend server side. So basically I have created two repositories. One is Angular and another is Node-based server, which is developed in a Nest. If I show you the code base, so if I open the Angular site, so if so simple is a login page, and on this login page we will receive some values when we create a new integration and activate, and once the value received we will redirect to the dashboard page, and from the dashboard page we will give a control back to the Magento using success callback URL. And similar to that, I have created one Nest application, and here is endpoint store. So basically webhook / store, on which we will receive some data from Magento when we create and activate a new integration. And once we receive those data, we will store into some database. For this tutorial, I have connected it with a Magento MongoDB Atlas. So the data we will receive will be stored over MongoDB Atlas. So same thing is also explained over here in the blog, the code. So Angular application code and Nest.js application side code. So if I open my Angular application, so basically it's run on 4200 port. Then it's simply some login page, and once there is no real username and password, just mock UI, and once we log in, then we are redirected to the dashboard page. So right now this will not make any sense to you. Once we will create and activate the integration, then it will start make some understanding to you. And if I open a backend server, then here on 3000 there is a webhook on which my backend server is running. Okay, so we have created our front system and backend system to mimic or mock as a third-party system, to understand how we can integrate with Magento as a OAuth-based integration. We have completed the 2 steps. Now we are moving to the third step, is like adding or creating a new integration. So as I have explained or shown you earlier, there is a Magento should be installed in your system. So if you open the admin panel of your Magento store or installed Magento store and log in with admin into the admin panel, so basically admin user, we will log in as admin user in our Magento store, and we will go to the system, and there is in system side panel we have integration under this extension. So this kind of UI will appear. So same thing has been explained over here in the blog. Okay, so now as of now I have created one integration, so I am going to delete it, and I am adding a new integration. So here one form will appear, and we have to fill some fields here, some backend URL and frontend URL of third-party system basically. So here is the API tab. So basically it's saying that for what kind of resources you want to take access. So basically if you want to access only sales kind of data, analytics kind of data, or catalog, customers data, so basically I am selecting all. And if I move to the integration info, there is a name. So basically I am adding a name like sample authentication. Here email is not mandatory. So here a callback URL and identity link URL we have to add. In a callback URL is the backend server URL of third-party system on which Magento will throw some data. So for this purpose we have created our node-based Nest server, and we have exposed the endpoint webhook on which we will receive a data, and the identity link URL is the front-end URL. So basically as I shown here is our Angular application front-end URL. We have to add those URL. So for example I am copying my admin URL Angular URL and adding it over here. So this is identity link URL and this is a callback URL. So callback URL, we have to add our backend server URL. So basically if I open the webhook and there is a webhook, there is a /store. So we have to add like up to the store, this URL we have to add. So basically on this URL Magento will throw data. So after we have added the detail, you have to set your admin password here. So if you see carefully here it is written that URL where OAuth credential can be sent when using OAuth or token based. We strongly recommend using HTTPS. So for those both URL we have to use HTTPS, but in our case if we open our Angular, then it is running in our local system, so both are on HTTP. So for this purpose we can expose our URL over the internet, so using ng-rock. So ng-rock basically what will do, it will replace our URL with a internet URL. So for example, if I explain here my localhost Angular URL, and using ng-rock will provide a new URL. So basically it is accessible over the public internet, and similar to that for the nest or our backend server node URL, Angular will also ng-rock will provide a new URL. So for that, if I open the ng-rock, you have to create one account over the ng-rock, and if there is a, if you search over this command ng-rock start-all, so basically if you go to documentation, then there is a definition like you can start exposing your local port to the public by exposing to public, and ng-rock will provide a new URL using single command. But what if I want to start both the URL in a single instance? So if I run any command and my both port, that is 4200 and my 3000 port, for the both the port new URL ng-rock will provide. So for this purpose, if you open this search this on Google, and there is first link, I will also add this link in the description, and there is a written over here that you can achieve this kind of functionality using single command. You can run open your both or expose your both the port. You can do by, first you have to visit to find your, first you have to find the config file of ng-rock. So once you have installation done in your system, so one config file ng-rock will install in your system. So you have to basically find out that config file. So over the official site you have to find the config file. If you are using a Linux, then you have to use this command if for the Mac and for the Windows. So if I open, currently I am using a Mac, so if I copy this URL and if I open, so basically it's finding the ng-rock YAML file. So you have to open it and you have to add both the port and you have to save it. So once you add both the port and save the files and close it, and you have to open a terminal, and in terminal you have to run this ng-rock start all command. But before this, the Angular system and node server should be running in our system. So for this, what I am doing, I am running this node server in my system, and Angular application is also running using ng-serve command. So once both the application started run here in 4200 my Angular system has started running, and port 3000 my node server has been started running. Then if you open the terminal again and if you hit this command again, then you have to wait, and then after that you can clearly see over here that on instead of 4200 there is public internet URL. ngrok has said this is this one. So I'm just copying, and for the backend Angular has ngrok has said this URL. So we have received two new URL for the replacement of our local URL. Now we have to append our remaining path to make the URL meaningful. So we have to add like webhook plus store. This is our complete endpoint post on which we will receive data from Magento. And for this, if I open our Angular application, then after the 4200 there is this default path. So I am appending this default part over here. So now my front-end URL is prepared, my back-end URL is also prepared. Now I am just copying both the URL and adding it in my this new integration. So basically this is the identity link URL where I have to paste my Angular front-end URL, and for the backend I have to add this URL. So now my both the all details has been filled in the form: callback URL, identity link URL, name, and I have to add here the password. And email is not mandatory, so I am just omitting. And now I am saving this integration. So as the same step has been also mentioned here, how you can add those value in a form, how to allow the APIs, and once you save the integration, then this kind of page will appear. So we also have able to see here the same kind of page. So now our integration has been created. Now we have to activate. Now we have to move to the activation part of our created integration. So we already have created the integration and current status is inactive. Now we are going to activate it. Once we create activate, then one pop-up will appear. So basically it's a list of APIs for which third party is taking access. Once we allow it, so first we have to allow this pop-up, and after the pop-up has been allowed, we have to start activating it again, and I am now allowing again. So basically it's opening Angular application of the third-party system. So in our case we have defined the Angular application and the path also. So basically it is redirecting to our Angular application login page, and now we have reached at Angular application. So basically no need to enter username and password. This is a mock UI. Once you log in, then at same time we have received a callback URL and access token. So using the callback URL, the control is returned back to the Magento, and at the same time we have received some values from Magento on our backend server. So basically we have defined our backend URL on which Magento has thrown some data, and we have already stored on our MongoDB database. So if I open my MongoDB database here, and there is a webhook collection. So currently there is no data. If I refresh, then you can see over here some data we have received. So if I copy all those values and paste it in our notepad. So using these four keys, we have to call APIs and verify that does we really got access of Magento resources as a third party system. So for this purpose, I am using a rapid API. So basically it is a Postman client, REST API client, and this is for using this client we will verify does we got any response from the API or not. So before going to this part, I am going to explain you the list of APIs. So basically here if I open this documentation and mainly in OAuth-based authentication, here is a list of steps. So basically we have almost completed all the steps. Now for after we have also achieved the activation part, we have also received these values. Now we have to complete this part, that is OAuth handshake detail. So first we have to call API for request token and later on to get an access token. So if I open the get request token, so here the OAuth token / request. So if I open here the request token URL, and this part will be your Magento store URL, and remaining part is the OAuth token request. So I already have added my Magento store path, and you have to enter here consumer key, consumer secret. So we already have received consumer key and consumer secret at backend. So for this purpose I have copied and into a notepad. So if I copy the consumer key and paste it over here, and if I copy consumer secret and I replace this value, and if I hit, then you can see the two value we have received. One is OAuth token and another is OAuth token secret. If I copy this over here, and if I again move to the documentation part, then you can see as per the documentation we have received same values, like values are different but keys similar response as shown in this documentation. So we have received OAuth token and OAuth token secret. Now after receiving this we have to call API to get an access token. So again we have to append this remaining part to our store URL, that is OAuth token / access. We have to copy and paste it over here. Now we have to fill these remaining values. So consumer key, consumer secret we already received and copied into our notepad. So we have to copy both two values, same two values. Now for the token and token secret, we have to enter the value which we have received when we called a request token API. So here in request token we have received OAuth token, and we have received OAuth token secret. I'm copying and pasting it over here. One additional field we have to enter here is a OAuth verifier. So for OAuth verifier, we already have received OAuth verifier on our backend database, backend server, and I am copying this OAuth verifier and pasting over here. If I hit this API to get access token, then again you can see we have received two key values. Again this is OAuth token and OAuth token secret. So now we have to use these two values which were received when we called access token API to verify that does we received access of the other resources or not. So for that purpose, if I open the documentation and list of the APIs, I will also paste this link in the video description and as well as in the blog. And if I go to the, for example, product, so here the list of APIs for the products. So there is a different API like analytics and customers, address, card. So I have copied the product detail API already in my Rapid API. So if I open that product detail API, so here you have to append after the product. This is a SKU of the product. So you have to append the SKU of the product, and you have to again fill the consumer key, consumer secret, token and token secret. So for the consumer key, you have to copy this existing value, and secret you have to, but for token and token secret you have to enter these two new value which you have received in access token. So I am copy the OAuth token value and pasting, and OAuth token secret, and I'm also replacing here. So after this, if I hit this, so you can see that 200 I have received, means I have got a response from product detail API with HTTP status code 200, means the resource available on Magento I am able to access using received token and token secret using APIs. So as a third party system, we got the access of Magento resources using OAuth based authentication.